Okay, continue. So without further ado, I will just show you to this wonderful new destination. Obviously, we're taking you to Israel. It's not working. Here it is. So the first images, of course, you can see is the desert. That's the light before dawn. That's the name of the resort, located in the south of the country in the beautiful area of the Negev Desert. You can see it's quite stark, it's quite beautiful, but it's quite dramatic as well. So if we can all just mute because I can hear everyone.
Cobre a multa.
Sorry, but I cannot hear you. Marilis, if you can mute everyone, is it possible? And then, excellent.
Yes,
so
I'm
now
doing
it's better.
this. I'm doing this. Sorry.
Okay, great.
I will mute all, and you can remute you. Okay, I will mute all. Okay.
All right, but
now you press your button. No, you are mute.
is it better now? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well, with all this technology, we are learning how to mute and unmute ourselves. That is working now. You can hear me, right? Perfect. So that's the location, right on the top of a hill on a most amazing destination in the south part of the desert. I can as well show you and put it on the map. You can see we're in the south, not very far from Eilat. That's the closest airport, the secondary airport that opened just the year before the resort opened. And you could as well, of course, expect that we have direct flights from Brazil directly to Tel Aviv in Ben Gurion. And that's where all the Brazilians will arrive. They make a couple of nights in Tel Aviv. Most of them will visit Jerusalem, obviously. They could just drive all the way down to the Dead Sea. And eventually, as we call the journey, the trip from Jerusalem or Tel Aviv all the way to the desert is part of the experience too. You're right in the hinterland, in the mountain, as well as the Ramon crater. And if you go further to the south and closer to Eilat, that's where the resort is located. Once I show this map, you can as well see how close we are to Petra. It's a beautiful place where you can as well combine it with our resort. Or as I suggest, you can always have this as a place where you can use it as a place to explore, not just Israel, but as well as Jordan. The best way to get to a resort, if you don't opt for a helicopter, which is a 45 minutes helicopter ride directly from Jerusalem or Tel Aviv all the way down to the south, a car is approximately 3.5 hours drive. And obviously the other choice is an internal flight from Ben Gurion all the way down to Ramon. It's like a shuttle service. We have daily 3 or 4 flights coming to us, and we're located only 45 minutes from the Ramon International Airport. So that puts, I think, everything in perspective and on the map. I love this picture because it gives you the setting of our location, the camel and the camel master. And of course, it's a place where everybody could have a wonderful time. Those that they love sports and of course, cycling, hiking, biking, but as well as cheap excursions. There are so many things in abundance that you can as well enjoy and travel to. I love this setting because you see the backdrop is at the time of the dusk. So the colors and everything change and are a bit more dramatic. Obviously, the nearby communities, what we refer to as a kibbutzim, it's an extension of our community. We arrange for day visits to the communities. You can spend the time meeting the locals, see how they grow all the vegetables, the green, how we make some wonderful cheese, or you can as well just enjoy some of the wines that are produced locally. In these communities, most of our hosts, as we call our staff, come from, and of course you can engage. That's the closest you can be with the local community in the nearby kibbutzim. You've seen the resort is really on the top of a hill overlooking the whole Arava Valley as well as the Negev Desert in general. So if you just start from the left, we have the main gate where is the desert bed. And of course, you ascend all the way to the top of a hill where we have the rest of the resort facilities and the accommodation. So obviously what we guarantee here is amazing views, whether it's a sunset or a sunrise, panoramic views and privacy in most of the suites and the villas. And obviously we have all the resort facilities concentrating on the edge tip of the hill, like the restaurants, the spa, and the reception hall. I know that you may not remember everything, but just for you to have an understanding of our accommodation, we start with a Six Senses suite, which is starting accommodation, almost 60 square meters. And I just gave you an indication of price because you asked what's the starting accommodation and the price. That's $1,000. That includes breakfast. And of course, we range all the way to the private reserve, which is a beautiful 3-bedroom villa. It's like a home away from home. I just make sure that here you know that it took almost 10 years for the resort to complete. And you can see how painstaking everything has been crafted and built into the hill. So it's just really unique to have all these arts and craftsmen preparing so meticulously all these years this amazing resort. This is the starting accommodation. You can see how spacious the rooms are. Maria-Elise, you can see some pictures, new pictures as well. But the beauty of our suites are they have floor-to-ceiling windows, great appointments. I know that it may remind you of Ziggy Bay. We have the wood and the stone and the, let's say, an induction into the local surroundings in the desert, but we tend to be a little bit more contemporary. So each and every of the suite has a terrace or a wonderful backyard like the pool suites. They feature a little plunge pool, but of course we impress you with our largest panorama pool villas. Those are beautiful because they're twice as much the size of a suite. It's a proper suite. It's a 1-bedroom villa. It has a large terrace, a full-size swimming pool. At the backdrop, what you can see is actually the village of Shaharut. That's the closest of our community. And of course, you can see the floor-to-ceiling windows opening up to dramatic views. This is the bedroom, a very spacious living room. It comes with a fireplace, and actually everybody asks me what's the purpose of a fireplace. We need that because in the winter months it's quite cozy and welcoming to have that when you come back from the restaurant. You have a nice cocooning feel and it's quite pleasant. Obviously we have air conditioning as well as ceiling fans, and I have to admit I spent there almost two months now. It's the best time to visit actually in August because it's dry. It's very pleasant. It also have a nice breeze and it's so beautiful. So you don't have the humidity of any other parts of the summer destinations that you may as well come across. So open all year round, great to visit. So August may be hot, but it's still very pleasant, and it could get a little bit colder in the months of January and February. That's where we have open fireplaces as well as in-room fireplaces to create a cozy environment. The bathrooms are quite lavish. And you can see the setup is a spacious living room, the bathroom and a bedroom, and of course outdoor dining. So that would be another option where you could as well cocoon and enjoy the surroundings. It's quite nice now because everybody's looking for physical distancing, not necessarily social distancing. And that resort, this resort comes quite appropriate because you have so much space. There's no elevators, there's no corridors. It's all standalone villas. So that makes it ideal for a couple wishing to get away from it all or friends traveling together to have all that space and privacy. Of course, for those that they need more space, we have a 2-bedroom villa, which you can see is quite spacious too. It has a living room and 2 bedrooms. You can see the appointment is exactly the same as the rest of the resort. And of course, I love this particular villa, the ones we show on the picture here, because it's the one that has the afternoon sun and you get the most dramatic sunset from your living room. So you can dip in the pool and have a sunset at the backdrop. Just a little hint. You get a 2-bedroom villa with a panoramic view of the sunset. You can see the appointment. 2 bedrooms, living room, and lots of space. So that's ideal for those that they wish to have a little bit of more space. And last but not least, obviously the reserve is a 3-bedroom residence, is a hotel within a hotel. You can see the new pictures. We set it up a very nice dining for 12. It's like a multi-generational retreat. You have a living room. It comes equipped with a kitchen, a spa, and a wine cellar, and 3 bedrooms, out of which the most impressive, of course, is the master bedroom, which comes with its own hot tub and a spa suite. So that's the reserve. And swiftly going to the food, you would expect nothing but the best of food in Israel. I mean, everybody knows about the use of nothing but the local ingredients, the freshest of vegetables. We have options for our guests to enjoy, like we have the median, which is the main restaurant. It's beautiful because it gives you this sort of rustic but yet contemporary feel with a taboon oven. That's where you can enjoy your breakfast and your dinner. We have a fireplace that creates the mood, and you can have an indoor and outdoor dining option. So that's really beautiful. So as you can see, Maria Liz, now are real pictures, and it looks exactly or even better than the renderings we've been showing 2 years ago. Here you can as well see the Jamila bar, which is again an extension of the main restaurant, where we have a beautiful concept. We have the desert tunes. We have a huge vinyl collection that is all digitalized, and our guests could create their own music lists and listen to them for the moment they step foot on Israel, all the way after they leave, as a reminiscence and reminder of their great stay with us. There you can have drinks and cocktails or some bites to eat, it's like tapas or little mezze, so you can have all day dining, and it could be a lounge bar, it could be a dining area, it could be as well as a library for those that they want to read a book in the afternoon. Of course, another choice is the Edom view, as well as a pool area. Infinity pool overlooking the whole plateau of Jordan. The backdrop are the Edom Mountains. As I said, at the time of the sunset, all these mountains become orange, so they feel like they're on fire. But you see, it's always a shaded area, lots of space. And of course, we are giving quite a number of other venues within the resort where we can as well deploy what we call the destination dining. This is, of course, a setup for an afternoon cocktail followed by a nice nomadic dinner. So that's something that we could as well, of course, organize. I just have to mention before we go on that I'm sure some of you may have the questions. The resort is not kosher, but as a respect to the local culture, we don't offer pork or shellfish, and we don't mix in a dish the dairy with the meat products. So some of them refer to it as kosher light. I would rather say we're not kosher. So it's better for you to pass this on to your clients if they're that sensitive. The same goes with the family, even though you know all about Six Senses and Grow with Six Senses, we have taken a willing decision to allow only children over the age of 12. It has been quite a tremendous success with the local market from day one we opened, and I think we were overly excited with the young ones. They were all over the place. And of course, we just want this place to remain quiet, peaceful. It could be at the end of one's visit to Israel, and people really need the peace and quiet that the desert can offer. So over the age of 12, the age of children that are welcome in the resort for 2022. And of course, last but not least, you all know about the wellness. Six Senses is all about that. It's a perfect place where you can disconnect with yourself and connect with the environment, the surroundings. This is just the indoor swimming pool. We have 6 treatment rooms, couple treatment rooms, and of course, a wide range of treatments to be pampered. We're using even the camel milk creams for facials, which are quite interesting material to experiment with. You can see how beautiful the relaxation rooms are. It's all in keeping with the desert vibes in the desert environment. Of course, separate steam rooms and saunas are available for male and female. So if you spend the whole day out walking, trekking, or hiking, what's best to have a lovely, rejuvenative sort of session at the end of your evening. So I love that picture. Actually, we had fun because the yoga instructor is with us and she was very daring. I don't advise you should do this pose right at the edge of the cliff unless you're very comfortable. But that's a place I said that you can do as little as nothing and still have a most amazing time with us. And of course, our friendly camels. You have observed that the resort caters for the animals. These were what we call the swans of the desert. We have 8 female camels. They all have a name and they all have a character. The guests are introduced to them on arrival. It's part of our welcome ritual. Some of them adopt a camel. We can as well ask you to take them for a little hike or walk. You don't ride them because it's more like of a shelter. So for them, it's like their retirement house. So it's good though, because they need to be going out walking and they are the best guides to the nearby routes that you can as well take while you're on property. So I think that was a very short presentation of the resort. Obviously now you can as well go back to our website where we embellish it with more information. Of course, our application is up and running. You can have access to all our menus, spa experiences and everything that a guest would wish to book, and we advise you to book in advance. And obviously, you know, Maria Liz and Ligia, I mean, I'm available as well. It was my last trip of before everything came to a standstill, and I want to have the first trip back to Brazil in the first opportunity because we all felt so welcome and we all felt that there was such a great interest to the destination, and it's now open. So there's no excuse. Slot in a time and come and visit us when the skies are open. The last thing I wanted to say, because I'm sure you'll be asking for, the country is still closed to arrivals, tourist arrivals, but we hope that by beginning of October, right after the holidays, because now this month is the New Year's for the Jewish calendar. So we think by October, it will open up gradually to international travelers.
Super.
Okay, that was it. Sorry if I had the backdrop noise of an airport, but I'm at the airport. But I wouldn't miss this opportunity of talking to you all today.
No, it's amazing. Actually, it's great to see the real pictures right now and
Yes.
see you again. You know, we are talking by email, WhatsApp, but it's so nice. It's so nice to see you're smiling because it means the property is wonderful. I know it's a hard work, the beginning, the opening, but I'm sure it will be a huge success. Well, I have some questions if you have.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so starting with the questions from the agencies, because I do have some questions too. Okay,
sure.
Actually, I loved, well, the design, everything. It's really, really, really amazing. Well, okay. One person, actually, it's a general question. It's about the best itinerary, and you talk about Petra and Jordania, and of course the Brazilians sometimes, and most of them, when they cross the world and go to Israel, it's an opportunity, as they are very close to Jordania, another country they visit. How is this crossing the border? Is this a specific border name to cross? Six Senses help with this transfer, with this cross. Could you explain a little bit, please?
Yes, well, I mean, again, at this moment, the borders are closed because of COVID, but eventually the border crossing is rather easy because it's in Eilat, so it's just an hour's drive from the resort, and the onwards journey to Petra is another hour and a half. So what we did, we work with a preferred partner. So anybody that books with us directly, or if you're interested to take on a day's trip, we have our own, let's say, on-site agent that would make all the arrangements. So in a way, we are giving or letting you the most capable of hands to arrange that trip. We do it as a day trip at this moment, Maria Lisa. However, as we progress, I think there might be people that they wish to stay longer. We're looking into ways of having an overnight stay and then coming the next day. But at this moment, it's offered as a day trip. We facilitate everything. You go with a driver all the way to the border. There is a guide waiting you on the other side of the border with a driver to take you all the way to Petra, and the same way on your return back.
This is amazing. I will speak a little bit in Portuguese, okay, Polis?
Yes, sure, sure.
Achei isso, eu também não sabia, e é das atividades que vão ter, então é um full day para Petra. A Lorena, do Clube Viagem, perguntou sobre qual é a cidade mais próxima, é Eilat, e de Eilat é ao border para Jordânia. Então, 1 hora e depois mais 1 hora até Petra. E o Six Senses vai fazer isso, por enquanto é um full day, mas pensando que a diária, o tempo de permanência no Six Senses Shaharut vai aumentar, que as pessoas possam passar 1 ou 2 noites em Petra e depois voltem para os Six Senses e passem mais 1 noite antes de ir embora do país. Então, isso é muito bacana. Esse menu de atividades vocês têm no site e a gente tem também como enviar para vocês por e-mail, tá bom? Sorry, I was just clarifying.
No, it's fine.
And how long do you think will be the average stay in Six Senses Shaharut?
I'm glad that you asked that question, Maria-Elise, because again, that's part of our couple of weeks experience. We realize that a one night stay is not enough. And what we have done for the remainder of the season, as well as for next year, throughout the year, we have imposed a minimum length of stay of 3 nights. We felt that anything less than that would not do the place any justice. It's a long trip to make it to us, and I think 3 nights will just be enough to enjoy what the area has to offer as well as the resort has to offer.
Amazing.
So 3 night stay is the minimum length of stay. All this information, of course, we will just put it together in an addendum to all our agreements and our communication for 2022.
Perfect. They are asking about the visa to cross the border. So as Six Senses, we organize everything. You will organize the visa to the full day, right?
Yeah, but as I said, all this will be done at the time of a reservation. You cannot really do it when you arrive there. So it's better when you're planning a trip over at the planning stage to let us know of the intention to visit and crossing the border. Then we have all the details because they may have different passports. It may not be just Brazilians, it could be other nationalities. So the best is to know at the time that you make a booking.
Great. Então, realmente, se a pessoa for para Petra, não só quiser passar um full day na atividade do Six Senses, mas quiser depois seguir para Petra, vale informar, é fundamental informar no momento da reserva, para que Six Senses possa passar todas as orientações, mandar todas as informações e ajudar com tudo, tá bom? Well, you told about August, that it's very a wonderful time. I know that October is peak season because we have already did some requests to Six Senses Shaharut, and you said that January and February it's colder, but it's amazing too. I love desert, and I do believe that I have never been in Israel, but what is the point here is what is the demand? For example, the season.
The best time of the year, yes.
Yeah, because looks like in Shaharut every day, the 365 days in the year. But combining with the other highlights in the countries, what do you recommend?
My recommendation is anytime during the year is beautiful to come to Israel, depending, of course, of your interest. But the best time to be in the desert is spring, which is March, April, May, and then again September, October. The months, as I said, I was the full months of July, the full months of August. It was excellent, but it could get a little bit hot during the daytime. So you would not go trekking and walking in the middle of the day, but you do it early in the morning or late in the evening. And then, of course, in the months of, let's say, January and February, it can get a little bit cold at night. But to be honest, during the daytime is beautiful because you have the sun. It's all very brisk. It's all very, it has the best light. So you get the best blue backdrops in the desert. That would be in January and February. But obviously, at night, you would need a jacket. You will get, the temperature could drop to 15 degrees. It's not lower than that. But it's still good and pleasurable to go around.
And these trekkings will be guided or self-guided? Okay.
We have some self-guided opportunities, and of course we have our own guides that could take you to places of interest nearby the resort. The same with the jeep excursions. You all go with a guide and a driver, and of course it all comes along with a destination, sort of a picnic or a little breakfast, depending on the choice of the day. All these are being developed as we speak. They're tested and tried, but we're just perfecting them as we're coming closer to welcoming more international guests. Because right now, the majority of our guests are locals. So of course they know the deserts, they know the way around. So we will be getting into more of the international mode of business from hopefully October onwards.
Great. And so this is a very good news. Saber que outubro, a ideia é que as fronteiras reabram de Israel, e aí a gente começa a receber estrangeiros. Outro ponto importante que o Polis comentou é sobre a idade mínima a partir de 12 anos no Six Senses Shaharut. E outro ponto importante é que a gastronomia e os restaurantes não são kosher. Kasher. Então, óbvio, não vai ter porco, algumas coisas não vai ter essa mistura da carne com leite dentro do menu em todos os restaurantes, mas a comida não é kasher. Falando a Patrícia Mello da Judy Associates, as atividades, Patrícia, a gente tem um menu, que é o menu de Fun Activities, onde a gente tem todos os Six Senses. Você vai encontrar no site, mas também pode pedir para a gente manda para vocês. Outra coisa, sempre em todos os Six Senses, quando você chega, você no seu quarto e o seu jam, que é o Guest Experience Maker, vai fazer o check-in na sua suíte ou na sua vila, ele vai te mostrar que existe um menu de atividades que são complementary durante a sua estada. Então, vai existir atividades complementary e atividades pagas. Seria possível colocar a foto da suíte, categoria de entrada? Talvez você tenha. Marina, eu tenho essa apresentação, me pede pelo WhatsApp e eu faço um print agora e mando para você, tá bom? Pode deixar, eu mando todas para você. Sorry, I was talking about the activities that, as the other Six Senses Shaharut, they have some complementary activities, but there are others that are there is a cost and there is a menu with the rates, right?
That's correct. Well, our rates include breakfast at this moment. And of course, on our weekly activity program, we have some experiences and activities that are offered complimentary. For those, of course, that are for price are the ones that take more time and more energy and more people. So those are the ones that are for paid for. So the spa treatments, for example, are paid for, but we organize from time to time things like yoga in the morning or walking and trekking. So that could be offered complimentary. So like all the other Six Senses, we do have some complimentary experiences and activities, and the majority or the biggest selection is available for at a charge.
Great. One highlight that I see is that the spacious of the suites, even the suites, very spacious, and the views are outstanding.
Yes, the suites are almost 60 square meters. They're very spacious and they have a very nice terrace. That's a starting accommodation. For those though that they have and they need more space, I think the best are the pool villas. The pool suites, we have realized that people are taking a shortcut through the garden, so they may lack a little bit of privacy. But for the pool suites, we will be organizing a spa treatments along with them, because they'll be like spa pool suites, because they're just close enough to the spa, and we'll be selling them for those that they really want to engage more with the spa. But the rest of the accommodation have great views to the desert and to the landscapes, and yes, indeed, they're really spacious, and the bathrooms are spacious too.
Yes, and this is wonderful, and the Brazilians, they love spa treatments,
Of course, absolutely.
Well, não sei se você já tem, mais alguma pergunta. Sim, a apresentação vai estar salva no YouTube. No Full Day até Petra, consegue fazer o Petra by Night? Polis,
Yes.
in the Petra Full Day, is it possible to do, looks like there is an activity called Petra by Night. Is it possible to do it? Do you know something about this?
Well, if you do it, that means that you have to stay overnight in Petra. So it could be arranged, but that's not a day trip. You have to stay overnight because coming back then is another 2 hours, 3 hours. It'll be quite intense.
Okay, perfect. Sorry. From Lebanon, if someone wants to combine Lebanon, Israel, and Jordania, is it possible go from Lebanon before
Actually,
Jordania and after? Yeah, looks like yes. Letícia Daime, para ir do Líbano, precisaria ir antes para a Jordânia ou pode ir direto? Okay. Is it possible fly from Lebanon to Israel directly?
no, there is no political relationships between the two countries, and those visiting Lebanon cannot visit Israel, and those visiting Israel cannot visit Lebanon. So you cannot have a Lebanese stamp on your passport. You're not going to be allowed in either of the two countries, and vice versa. Just for
On
you
the
to know
same
that.
trip. On the same trip.
On the same trip, if you do have a passport which is, let's say, granted an entry visa either to Israel or to Lebanon, you won't be able to visit one of the other country.
Even if you go to Jordania in the middle.
You could, but you would have had your stamped passport, and when you enter Israel, you have difficulty getting into Israel. So the two countries do not have unilateral agreements. So it was pretty much like Dubai up until recently, that Israelis wouldn't be able to visit the United Arab Emirates and vice versa. But there was a recent development, and these two countries have established the political relationship. But out of the neighborhoods, the ones that we cannot combine a trip with is Lebanon.
Então o jeito, Jorge, se a pessoa quiser fazer os dois, é começar por Israel, porque pelo que a Cecília está falando, eles não carimbam no passaporte, eles só te dão um cartão de imigração, e aí depois ir para a Jordânia e depois ir para o Líbano. Agora, começar do Líbano, aí é impossível entrar em Israel, na mesma viagem, mesmo tendo a Jordânia no meio. Maria Alice, é possível fazer desculpa, just a second. É possível fazer um passeio de um dia para Eilat? Sim, Lorena. Sim, é possível. Sem problema, é 1 hora para Eilat. Sem problema nenhum. Isso. Renata, obrigada, Rê. Perfeito. O Líbano nem vê que foram para Israel. Ok. Ok, obrigada, Rê. Jorge, me diz se ficou claro a explicação para você. Qualquer coisa você me liga. Well, Polis, so we hope we will have a lot of demand to you, and soon we will have a lot of Brazilians at 660.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to welcoming you here, because it's a very special place, a very special resort. We're all very proud, and I cannot be prouder because I've been out there and about for almost 3 years telling you all about it. And
Yes.
it looks at its best. It looks at its best. The feedback we're getting for the guest is nothing but overwhelming. And of course, we'll be given enough time to fine tune everything when the first international clients enter Israel. We'll be in touch, obviously. You have my presentation, which is a good reference. It gives you a lot of information, but I'm sure that Maria Alicia, you can as well share with everyone my email. You can reach out directly, and I cannot wait to seeing you in Israel soon.
Polis is super fast answering email, WhatsApp. He's super present and support us a lot. Thank you so much, Polis.
Well, I have not been very prompt the last 3 weeks because we're all thrown in operations. I was there meeting and greeting with all the guests. So all the emails have been like a backslash at the end of the evening, but now we're back on track. And obviously, anything you need, we're here to assist. Thank you so much, Maria-Elise.
Thank you. Have a wonderful trip. And
thank you so much.
See you soon.
Take care. Goodbye for now. Keep well.
Obrigada.
Thank you.
Thank you. Obrigada
Bye-bye.
a todos. Muito obrigada. Beijo.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Tchau, tchau.